Hi, I'm Jen Ziegler, and I'm a real estate agent in Kitchener-Waterloo, which is an hour outside of Toronto. And today I'm going to talk to you about the importance of doing a final walkthrough on the home you purchased. So a final walkthrough is something that you do 24 to 48 hours before you close on your home. And this is so important because you want to go through and make sure that everything looks the same way as originally purchased. So I typically have a checklist that I run through in my mind. And so today I'm going to walk you through my checklist so you can have a gauge of the things you need to check. First thing I want you to take a look at is all of the appliances. If you've assumed the appliances, then you want to make sure that they're working, because once you close on it, if they don't work a couple days after, then of course that's now going to be an issue for you. Turning on the microwave, turning on the fan, checking the fridge, checking the freezer, turning on the stove, checking the oven. All these things are super crucial. Running the dishwasher, checking the washer, checking the dryer. You want to make sure that they work so that you don't run into issues and you don't have to get a new washer after you've just closed on your house. And this is something that I've done very often. It's something that I always do, and I think it's just a good practice to do for you to do to make sure that you know that you're not going to have any hidden or unexpected fees. Another thing I think is important to check is turn on the thermostat and make sure that the heat and or air conditioning is working. You want to make sure that in the time that you're there, you can see the adjustment on the temperature just to make sure that you know it's working and that you're not going to move into a house in the middle of winter and not have heat, because that would not be fun, especially in Canada where we live in igloos. Third thing that I always check is going around making sure that there's no major changes in regards to the construction of the home. So, did a pipe leak, checking all of the faucets, checking underneath the sinks to make sure that they're not leaking below, flushing all of the toilets, turning on all of the sinks, turning on all of the showers and bathtubs, filling up the bathtub with water, running the jets. You just want to make sure that all of the things that you're going to do in the next couple days once you move into your home in terms of having a life there and it being your home, that everything functions properly. It's so crucial, it's so important. Other things to kind of check for is figuring out if automatic garage door remote's open, double checking to see where the mailbox is, making sure you get a mailbox key, double checking that the remotes are going to stay. All these little final things that will just make your life so much smoother once you move in, just so that you know and you're not shocked about any of the changes. If you have a pool and it has just been opened in the time that you've purchased versus the time that you've closed, double check and make sure that the liner looks smooth. Double check and make sure everything looks clean and is well cared for, and take a picture of the chemicals so you have it ready for when you come into your house. All these things are super important, and I think they're things you just don't want to overlook. So there is a clause if you're buying a swimming pool. If you buy and you close in March and the pool isn't open, there is a clause that we'll put in just to warrant that it'll be in good shape if you haven't seen it. So when it opens in the summer, you can trust that it's going to work and then there's not going to be issues. So don't panic and don't open your pool in March to confirm it looks good. Just wait until the summer. Make sure your agent writes that in appropriately so that you know when you do open it, if there is an issue, you can go back on those people and deal with it that way. Other things to check windows, make sure none of the seals have broken from the time you've purchased, make sure all the locks are working, that the door locks are working, check and see what type of key you have. A lot of people change their keys. A lot of people change their keypads. Check and see if there's a manual that they have handy if you're going to change your keypad so you have a different code. So you just don't have to worry about anyone else coming in after you own it. Walk around and check the deck, check the exterior, make sure that there's no shock when you move in. Make sure most of the debris's been moved out. I mean, when I closed on my first house, the gentleman left tons of stuff in the garage. He said he would be back to grab them. Unfortunately, he never came back. So after, 2 weeks of emailing back and forth, we just ended up taking it to the dump and getting rid of it, which is fine. But I think it's easier when you are moving into your first house if you just don't have to deal with those type of headaches. Another thing that's very nice, like my favorite sellers will do this for buyers, is marking all of the paints in the basement with the rooms. Very handy, leaving extra tile, extra hardwood. All of that is just so nice, and I don't know why you'd bring it. You probably don't need it. You're not gonna have the same type of flooring. So having it come with you is awesome. Another common question that I get from people when they are closing, do I have to paint and fill all of the walls? The answer is typically no if they're tiny little holes, but honestly, it's a nice thing to do. If it's somewhere where you know probably someone's gonna hang a picture anyways, then it's fine. But if you have a huge gallery wall and there's 150 nails that are sitting in there, just take it out, patch it up, sand it, paint it, make it easy on people. I believe it's good karma. I think it's nice to just pass it on and make it easier for people, and most likely they're not going to put up the exact same gallery wall. So in that case, do them a favor and just get it to look as nice and clean as possible. Right now, one of my sellers who I love and have the cleanest house ever have been going crazy, bleaching their bathroom, scrubbing everything down, and I just think it's so sweet because they're just the type of people that want the new buyers to just have the cleanest, best experience. And I think that art is not lost. Like, that's such a powerful feeling for people. Imagine when you're buying your first house, there's nothing better than when I come in, there's a nice letter to my buyers, there's a bottle of wine, or there's flowers, or there's a gift basket. And I just think it's so kind, and I just think it's the right way to say goodbye to a house and the right way to be welcomed into a new home. So those are kind of my major list of things that I really want you to look at. Last one that's just top of my mind is just do a walk around the exterior and see if you can get a look at the roof in case there's been any shingles or anything that have blown off from storms. So you just want to make sure that there's no surprises once you take on your ownership. So always do a final walkthrough, even if it's empty. It's super important. I've had houses that have had completely flooded basements when we did the final walkthrough, and you just don't want to be surprised. So congrats on your new home. Please go through my checklist. Feel free to create it into a nice pretty document versus having to watch this video, and all the best on your new journey into home ownership. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you followed your heart in real estate. Take care.